as Richard said there, we've got the numbers for ADNOC drilling, posting a 26% year-on-year rise for Q1 net profit. Very pleased to be joined by the CFO, Youssef Salem. Youssef, good morning. It's nice to speak to you.
Morning. Always so amazing to be with you. Thank you for having me.
Right, let's break this down for those not in the oil industry. You've got both revenues and profits up by around a quarter, more onshore, offshore and oil field activities. Where has most of your growth come from in this quarter?
Your point, more of everything, right? So offshore up 51%, onshore up as well. Oil field services is up. Basically, ADNOC has gone up to 4.85 million barrels of capacity of production, almost 6 years ahead of where we were originally going to be at 5 million barrels. And to be able to get to this capacity, which ultimately drives the oil and the gas and the revenues and the prosperity for the country, ADNOC Drilling is basically the one extracting all of that oil and gas from the ground. And that's where the massive growth is.
Okay. You've given some quite punchy forward-looking guidance here, which is interesting, A, because not every listed company here in the UAE does give forward guidance. It's actually quite rare. But also, you say that net profit's going to potentially double over the year. What do you see driving it there? What's going to do that?
Absolutely, and that's because not every listed company has the position we are. We're the exclusive driller in Abu Dhabi. We have up to 15-year contracts. We're effectively the vehicle to get that oil and gas out of the ground. We have the largest drilling fleet in the region and pretty much in the world outside the US and China, and hence the level of visibility we have on our performance is quite unparalleled, which allows us to give these commitments, which we're very confident not only we will meet, but we will significantly exceed as well over time. So in the last 3 quarters, we've been consistently above market consensus and above the guidance that we have given. As you said, we're doubling net income since our IPO 2.5 years ago to 1.2 billion. And that meant that our share price has pretty much doubled. So if you've bought the shares in the IPO, you're pretty much sitting on double the amount of money you invested, plus the dividends we keep paying, which is also now going up by another 10% per year. So you also keep getting more dividends.
Yeah, but that ability to see what's going to happen next also means that you're tied to ADNOC's fortunes. You're tied also to how much it can take out of the ground, what's happening with OPEC and cuts. How do you hedge that?
So one, we love being tied to ADNOC. ADNOC is the fastest growing energy player pretty much globally, increasing capacity consistently in a very rapid way. And our ability to move quickly and onboard more rigs is driving that. So we love this tie-up. On top of it, we've been diversifying pretty strongly. So in addition to our live operations in the region, whether it's in Jordan and very imminently in Oman and Kuwait, also via Enersol, which is our partnership with Alpha Dhabi, we are now acquiring and investing in oil field services businesses globally, and hence being able to have clients in US and Europe and different parts of the world. So a very, very strong backbone in ADNOC and the UAE, which we continue to be extremely bullish about, supplemented by a global diversification play.
Right, let's talk about Enersol, because you've got a $1.5 billion mandate to invest in and acquire global energy companies. What are you looking to buy?
So we've closed one in the last quarter. We have 3 more which we're imminently signing. One is in AI, energy AI. One is in manufacturing, and one is in completion. So basically being able to deliver a well end-to-end to our client. And that's the ultimate gain. We use technology, we use AI to take a site from a client and return it back to them as a flowing well, which is ready to produce and generate income for our clients and the country.
Will acquiring an energy AI company effectively put you in competition with AIQ, which is partly owned by ADNOC?
We actually work very closely with AIQ. So as we speak now, we have multiple live products with them, whether it's computer vision, which allows us to significantly improve safety by pre-detecting any accidents, whether it's emissions, tracking and forecasting, which allows us to be part of the net zero journey for ADNOC by 2045, and already allowing us using our hybrid rigs, which work with hybrid batteries and generators to reduce emissions by up to 15%. We're extremely proud of the recent transaction that AIQ has gone through with ADNOC G42 and Presight, and we'll continue to work together hand in hand.
Yeah, I'm going to put the same question to you that we put to the Presight CEO, who we spoke to, Thomas, yesterday, and also to the head of AIQ, which is, if you have an AI company in the energy space and you're so closely tied to ADNOC and the oil industry here. How do you sell yourselves as being independent and safe enough to another oil company in another country to get them to trust your models with their proprietary data?
Absolutely. So one, being tied to ADNOC is a benefit because ADNOC has a massive global reputation of being such a leader in safety and having one of the strongest track records when it comes to health, safety and environment, and also being a global leader in sustainability and in being able to balance increased energy security to the world with constantly reduced emissions. And hence, that's actually something that we're very proud of and supports us. On top of it, of company, whether us or anyone else, as we go outside, all the operations are always ring-fenced for the country and the client with which we operate.
Okay, let's look at one of the most interesting things for investors to come out of your earnings, which is the board recommending a new, improved, progressive dividend policy. I know what that looks like, but I'm not going to steal your thunder. Tell us what you are proposing.
So basically that means that this year we're going to be paying $788 million of dividends at least. And it's critical that this is a minimum. We can potentially do more over time. It basically means that if you're a shareholder in ADNOC Drilling and you've received a dividend in the last couple of months, every single time, basically every single year, you're going to be getting at least a 10% higher than what you got the previous year for at least the 5 years. So for as long as you hold the stock, you keep getting more and more and potentially substantially more over time.
Is that a done deal or does it depend on a certain performance?
It is not dependent on performance. This is the bare absolute minimum that we will always be paying. And then potentially, to your point, with performance, which we're very confident in, that number can end up being even higher.
Okay, before we let you go, the other bit of future-proofing outside of AI and wider customers, COP feels like a bit of a distant memory at the moment, to be honest, but the targets obviously still remain. You are drilling for fossil fuels. How do you future-proof yourself for the energy transition?
Absolutely. So decarbonization is integral, and that's why, to your point, when you also mentioned what are we looking for in Enersol, a lot of these companies we're looking for in Enersol, what they do is, one, by increasing efficiency and allowing us to deliver wells faster and safer. By definition, we are reducing the carbon footprint of these wells, in addition to technologies which are specifically focused on decarbonization. And that's why for us, this is about energy solutions, not only about drilling, hence the name Enersol for our subsidiary, and we'll continue to deliver solutions that balance energy security and decarbonization well into the future.
Thanks for joining us this morning. The CFO, Youssef Salem of ADNOC Drilling, posting a 26% rise and similar for revenues, that was net profit, plus a new dividend policy coming out from the board.
Dubai Eye 103.8.
Join the conversation.